Welcome to the gymnastics dismount on another highly questionable week. What do you like today, Bomani?
I know Tom Brady was trolling on Facebook to entertain your granddaddy.
Dale, papi.
Have we seen the last of Chris Bosh in the NBA?
No doctors up here, obviously, but the Miami Herald is reporting that he failed a physical with the Miami Heat, and everything I've read about blood clots is after you've had the second recurrence of blood clots, even if you're trying to play with thinners, you've got a situation where the results can be potentially catastrophic. I think for sure we have seen the end of his days in Miami because they get salary cap relief if he doesn't play at all by February 9th. But beyond that, what team is going to be willing to take the risks of a catastrophic injury in its uniform?
Yeah, you can't do that after one team has already said, we don't think we want to do that. It would make you raise a lot of questions about your own doctor under these circumstances. So, yes, we probably have seen the last of Chris Bosh in the NBA. One thing to remember, by the way, Chris Bosh, even to the end, was a really good player. He just happened to be number 3 in a big 3, where the other 2 were really big.
It does tell you a little bit, though, about how fragile the mortality can be sometimes, not only of these human beings in their prime, but also beyond that, these constructs. It wasn't that long ago that the big 3 were the Warriors, what they are today. It was the biggest thing in all of sports, and LeBron is gone, and Dwayne Wade is gone, and Chris Bosh is gone. Them getting together was improbable. It being done this fast, also improbable.
Was last night all about the genius of Bill Belichick, or does Jacoby Brissett deserve much of the credit?
All right, I'm not really here about giving credit to the dude who did not actually have to perform the athletic feats when talking about an athletic competition, especially when Jacoby Brissett tore thumb ligaments in the process. But, dude, they're just dropping anybody in here, and Belichick finds one way or another to make this happen. And this was a game that was made as much as anything else on special teams for the Patriots. Jacoby Brissett was good enough. Yeah, the run was very, very impressive. Passing, he's just a dude off the street, basically. They won this game 27-0. How, man?
Can you imagine how much more undefeated the Patriots would be if they had players who were actually healthy out there? You've got a quarterback here who wasn't throwing the ball beyond 10 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. And keep in mind, when he came in last week against the Dolphins, you still had the things that you cannot have happen, which is a running back rushing for 100 yards and the tight end, a safety valve, getting 100 yards in catches. You can't have that happen with the third-string quarterback, and yet it still happens. This is amazing. It's sorcery. It's voodoo doctors, and it's one of the reasons, by the way, that so many people find reasons to think they're cheating. When you can't explain something, usually the place you go is the leadership is coaching really well or they're cheating.
Well, I tell you one thing, this game would have been much different if J.J. Watt would have played.
Oh, yeah.
Only team that he's played 3 games against that does not have a sack. It's like he wasn't there, man.
Yeah.
Did he play?
I mean,
Yeah.
Sort
Wow.
of.
Clowney, too.
Sort of.
Good look for Tom Brady to troll the Texans on Facebook.
Tom Brady doesn't do a lot of public interesting in front of the microphones. Very little in his entire career. But on Facebook, he will troll the hell out of you. He's done it every week this season. Look at this.
Wait a minute, you're not, okay, yeah, you want to talk about the football team, that's fine, but we ain't going to make no mockery of this dope mess with Texas thing. You're only saying that because you live way far up north. You wouldn't say that if you was down there.
I know, but look at this,
Like,
Bomani. Tom Brady is interesting on Facebook.
Yeah, I feel like he went just a little bit too far when he started talking about trolling the whole great state of Texas. Now, here's what I find interesting about Tom Brady, though. He's not on Twitter. Like, he's not on any of these commoner social media apps. Facebook is where everybody is. That means the Tom Brady crowd. And by everybody, I really mean old people. Because I feel like this kind of stuff is really directed toward old people. And he's getting all that old people money with cute little comics.
Hey, Tom, the message being that, the Patriots, they might not need you after all. They got Jimmy and they got this kid now, Joshua Brisket, I mean, I'm telling you something. Now you got some competition now.
Joshua?
Brisket?
That's right.
What just happened there? That sounds like a delicious French sandwich of
I
some
can go for
sort.
some brisket right now.
Yeah, that's it.
You want to talk about Texas. Texas know what to do with some
He's
brisket.
still agreeing with himself on Joshua Brisket.
Yeah. What's
And
his
still-
name?
and
What's
still.
his kid's name? Nobody knows. What's his name?
I mean, that's true. That part
That's
is true.
it.
Nobody does know his name.
That's right.
What did he do to deserve this?
Nothing.
How should the Texans feel about Brock Osweiler?
Oh, yeah, it was 27-0. The nothing part kind of falls on an offense that through 3 games has Brock Osweiler throwing 4 interceptions while leading 3 touchdown drives. Now, he appears to be just another dude off the street, but those guys can be kind of hard to find. There are weapons there for him to get the ball to. He's got a running back. The offensive line, not so great. But what the Texans have is what the Texans have had at quarterback since their inception. A question mark.
I know, not just this, though. We could put some of this on Brock Osweiler, but how do you feel as an organization? You spent a bunch of money in free agency on a quarterback and other offensive weapons. You drafted offensive weapons. You go in there and you can't score any points against their third-string quarterback. You can't generate a pass rush against their third-string quarterback. You got Bill O'Brien because you tried that trick everyone tries of get the guy next to Belichick. And Romy Cornell, that doesn't travel. Charlie Weiss, that doesn't travel. Bill O'Brien, that doesn't travel. What do you do other than suffer and think, man, we're never going to beat those guys? Not with this quarterback, not with any quarterback.
What you do is probably win the AFC South because someone has to. There is that.
Well, I tell you how Denver feels. Pretty happy.
Yeah, that's right. That's true. Yeah, that's true.
What are you happier about, though? Think about this, though. If you're Denver, Osweiler, not so good. Patriots, 3-0.
Yeah.
Was Steve Clevenger's punishment appropriate?
I have never heard of this person before this controversy. He's backup catcher for the Seattle Mariners. He has been punished for the remainder of the season, suspended for the remainder of the season, not much season left, without pay. Here's what he did on Twitter. Black people beating whites when a thug got shot holding a gun by a black officer. Ha ha, bleep cracks me up, keep kneeling for the anthem. Black Lives Matter is pathetic once again. Obama, you are pathetic once again. Everyone involved should be locked behind bars like animals. I can't believe that a backup catcher is doing that. Never mind that he's articulating a sentiment that a lot of people have and are afraid to put out there in front of you. I just can't believe a guy with this kind of job security is doing something like this.
I mean, but if you feel like the people around you feel the same way, or we don't know what he was doing while he was sending these tweets, I don't find it to be that surprising at all. If they want to suspend him for the rest of the year, I suppose that they can. Generally speaking, I feel like if you say something crazy like that, you got to pay for it. Yeah, I had huge problems with what it was that he had to say, but I'm not requiring he be banished from the roster. If he can find a way to coexist after doing that, then I don't blame the Mariners for taking him in. However, that would then require the Mariners to explain how it is so easy to take him in and for him to coexist. And then we start getting into all kinds of really fun discussions that baseball don't want to have.
I don't want to make too light of a situation of this, but many years ago, I talked to Bob Nadel, a backup catcher for the Marlins, who told me off the record that he thought Whitney Houston was overrated because he was so afraid of being public with comments that might be controversial because he was a backup catcher. How do you do this?
I would say, though, be careful what you say about Whitney Houston. There is a hive and they are vicious.
I just betrayed Bob Nadel after all of these years.
Now
It was off the
Whitney
record.
Houston stands are going to come at him and it's all your fault.
What a journalistic breach. I'm sorry, Bob.
Coming up next on my son's TV show, we talk to Rashard Mendenhall.
Weren't you accused of reading too many books?
I mean, yeah, I was, remember, hearing from a team that, if I'm interested in reading and writing all these things, what really makes me a football player.
Joining us at the beach today is Rashard Mendenhall.
All right, former NFL running back. He's now started a production company called Nappy Rose Productions. Check out the documentary, The Hustler. Let's talk to Rashard.
Rashard, what can you tell us about your upbringing, the details that most helped shape you?
I think education was a big part of my upbringing. Growing up, I went to regular school, but my mom also had us go to the Shule ya Watoto, which means school for children, in Swahili, and so we learned a lot about like African history and culture and the Middle Passage and different things. So I always grew up in a household where learning, education, reading was important, and so something that kind of always stuck with me my whole life.
Well, how important was that kind of education to your confidence coming up?
I think it was great because as a black boy in America, like having a knowing of your history, having something to refer to, and seeing culture in that way, I think it helped me to understand who I was in a different way.
Did football embrace the idea of you as a thinker, or did you find it kind of clumsy being someone who was thinking and educated and coach wanted you to just listen?
I think, depending on the person, a lot of coaches, even somebody like BA who understood who I was, and even Tomlin as well. I think with the people in football, it's about people and they understand. But I think as a whole, the fans, the media, football is in such a specific box. So I think it's hard for people to see, the actual players, the men, the athletes in this game as anything outside of that.
Would you be better off if you thought less? Would it have been easier to play football if you had been somebody? Weren't you accused of reading too many books?
I mean, yeah, I was. Remember, hearing from a team that if I'm interested in reading and writing all these things, what really makes me a football player. So I think not necessarily if I read and thought less, but if I was more the mold, and I think for any guy, guys have reached out to me who struggled with having to kind of forcibly be in that mold of what people expect, what they want, how they want you to be if you're a professional athlete, especially a football player.
How difficult was the time immediately after retiring? Because that can be brutal for a lot of athletes, losing what had been a major portion of their identity.
Yeah, it was totally tough, and it's still, the transition is still something I'm undergoing, because when I stopped playing, there was never a point in time where I look back like, did I make a mistake, or should I be playing football? But with that being something that I've done my entire life, having to kind of find your footing again and find who you are apart from that is something that no matter how well you know yourself or how well I worked and prepared for it, it was something that was brand new. And so being a kind of in a new place in life, being apart from football is something that's still to this day takes sweetening to be comfortable in.
Was there any particular thing that made it especially difficult?
I think the toughest thing is, with the way that football works, is so specific. Everybody in the business is conditioned to, to fight through, to address things head on and straight on. And so in the real world, in real life, it's like you can't really walk into a room like on 100. You can't really say exactly what you're thinking and feeling, and everybody can kind of take that. It's not a locker room. It's not a football field where people run into each other at full speed. So kind of having to find a balance of how to be in the regular world, having to work with, other people, even with my production company, and where everybody's looking at me, having to communicate in a way where people understand it, and not always, to have a support as well, and not kind of have that football mind state when approaching everything.
Oh, you were like at the job acting like a coach.
Yeah, you thought you were being direct. They thought you were being a jerk. That's what was happening.
Yeah, it's
right?
like that. When coaches talk to you, it's like, and I think even they understand, and in practice, like when they're saying something to correct you, it's only to win the game. Everybody's on the same team. You're sharpening swords. It's all in the means to win the game. And, if a coach isn't saying something to you, you're doing the right thing. But, in real life, if you, are that critical, if you're always pointing these things out, people can feel like, it's something wrong, like, am I not doing a good enough job? So I've kind of had to learn something that you don't learn from the coaches, as far as being supportive, being kind of positive in a way.
Oh, they had to come talk to you, didn't they? They had to put you to the side, like, who's you short strong, had to come tell the boss he need to fall back and we up out of here.
Yeah, I get it a lot from my girl. She talks about the way that I talk and the way that I am, and so I think her and kind of like her softness allows me to find a better balance.
All right, well, now we need the details, though, of this story. Like, there have to be good details. Something happens, you go in to address it, you're thinking I'm just correcting a problem, and it's being met with what?
No, it's kind of like, we could have a task or a job or something for the day, and it's like, if something doesn't get done or doesn't get done to the level, people can think that's cool or that's okay, or where there's a reason it didn't happen. In football, it's like, you can't even be late. Like, even if they could shut down every bridge and it could be a snowstorm in Pittsburgh and you better be there on time, so it's just like the fact that, approaching job in a business, if something doesn't happen, as an athlete, you're like, look, like, this isn't okay, this isn't right, like, we got to do something about this. I don't care what the reason is why this didn't get done, like, this is how you get beat. And so that's just a language that every athlete understands, but it's not necessarily translated the same way.
I love this so much, but the idea of you are being received as being mean, and you're like, I'm not mean. Like, there's nothing mean. I'm not being mean. This isn't cool.
Yeah, this is just like life. And I guess, like, as an athlete, from the time you're a kid in feeder league, like having a helmet on and having a coach barking commands at you, it's just like, it's a normal part of your life. But, when you leave football, like, it's not like that.
Rashard, Poppy wants a crack at you. He comes in with the hard stuff. What do you got, Poppy?
Rashard, I read that you love to salsa dance. Is that right?
The salsa dance, yeah, I love to dance. I'm not sure where you got the salsa, but I do a little bit of salsa.
Okay, well, he's going with it.
Let's dance.
All right,
Let's
well,
salsa.
Well, what kind of
Cruz. Come on.
Go ahead, Poppy, get it. Get it.
I don't know what dance he'll do next if you tell him to don't encourage him.
Shoulders.
Come on, get up
Yo,
your
I dig
seat.
that, man.
No,
I dig
okay,
it.
enough. Let's go.
You got it.
Just go to commercial. Thank you, Rashard.
Man.
Nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you guys. Appreciate you.
Then I go up and pour 4 up. Then I roll up, that roll up. Then I'm calling your up. Pick up the phone, baby. I know you're home, baby. I'm in the zone, baby. I just pour up before, baby. Yeah. Time to play the game that goes hard every time. Do you question?
You give us topics and events, and we question them.
Do you question whether fans should be passionate?
Really? That's a broad question. In general, whether they should be passionate is probably good for our business that they be passionate. How passionate, though? Here's a Philly fan, a Philadelphia Eagles fan. His last name is his first name is Monty, last name Philly. Did he change his name to be passionate?
Oh, yeah, baby. Yeah, I'm hyped. Y'all see
Don't
how we
worry,
doing
his
this
name
year?
is Monty.
2-0, baby. Now, check this out. Ain't no quarterback like Eagles quarterback Carson Wentz. It's hot. If Pittsburgh still think they're coming to beat us, oh, man, no, they're not. Because, yeah, y'all know we're number one.
Oh, beatboxing situation.
E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles. Number 1, baby. Ain't nobody better. Go Birds. Peace.
So you think he planned that out beforehand? It was just improvised the whole way. What do you have on?
I mean, I got nothing. What am I supposed to say to that? Like when the bird
he's
is
pulling the string with the bird.
I mean, the bird is flapping and don't stop flapping. It never runs out of batteries. What do you want me to say?
That guy has got nothing compared to this guy.
What guy?
Carolina Panthers.
Oh,
with
this
sharp
guy.
teeth and claws. We growl to
Listen
win
to
this
this.
game. We call pro football.
Yes!
You dig the NFL, my lyrics and my rhymes. You eat up what I'm saying, spit and fly hip hop lines. Lightning fast, big black cats, Panthers kicking.
This guy's good, real good.
Yeah, and by good you mean horrific.
He's like T-painful.
Oh my God. Although it would have been made better if he had had a panther flapping on the top of his scalp.
Do you question if this is an effective use of gym equipment?
Oh, what form of inappropriate is this video going to be?
Oh no.
Oh, wow, okay. The kind of inappropriate where if you get hurt, I assure you suing the gym won't help.
I mean, beyond everything else, I'm not sure how great that is as exercise.
Well, I mean, it's pretty impressive that my man can,
I guess.
I guess that takes core strength or whatever it is. I just want to know where the people are who work there.
Right.
Because I'm sure you're not allowed to just stand on the equipment.
Does this just allow us to play all our other gym footage? Can we just start playing some of that? What other gym footage do we have here?
That's what I was looking for.
That's the one I like.
I didn't know. As I say, I thought it was going to be this form of
Whoa.
inappropriate, which is actually the most appropriate form on earth.
Whoa, look who woke from his slumber over here.
That's the one I like,
You
buddy.
mentioned
What's
that.
the name of that equipment? I'm getting one for my apartment here in the beach.
No.
That's right.
No.
Which equipment is he talking
No.
about, though? Because they're not using it.
The equipment he's talking about using on my mom.
Time to play the game that has no clue what he's doing. See? Or no?
Tell us what's on television. He'll relentlessly be intrigued.
Saturday on ESPN, Auburn and LSU.
I'm not that interested in this, but I can be persuaded to be interested in one guy who plays for LSU. Perhaps you've heard of him. Perhaps you've seen some of his work. Leonard Fournette.
Ultimate!
Yeah, does these things man style. Gosh, that reminds me. I mean, that's like playing as a child. I'm sorry, Bryant, that your name was on the back of your uniform when that happened to you. Bomani, are you intrigued?
How could I not be intrigued by a real live loser leaves town match? If Gus loses this game, he's good as gone. If Les loses this game, he's good as gone. Maybe not the next day, but he's going to be gone.
That was pretty good what he did there. You saw he fumbled, recovered his own fumble. That
was pretty whack what you just did, which was bring it up.
Whoa, wow. Poppy, are you intrigued?
Oh, see, I'm very intrigued. Listen, I respect Gus Malzahn a lot because he's the guy that broke Tricky back about 3 years ago, you know, that punt return play with no time left in the clock. Well, I'm telling you, I take my hat off to Gus. You know, I will follow him no matter where he goes.
You realize this, by the way, if not for those 2 lucky plays in 2013, Gus Malzahn probably got fired last year.
My dad has never worn a hat, so he's taking off a hat for you, Gus Malzahn, that I've never seen him wear.
I love you, Gus.
Okay.
Sunday on E, Rob and China.
Which Rob?
Yo.
Oh, wait, China. Wait a minute. What is this?
September. Meet the future Mr. and Mrs. Kardashian.
I fell in love with you because I know how good you are and how loyal you are.
Are you still texting? Yes or no?
They're cute. They're complicated.
Bye.
And they're about to become family.
That Rob wants to be so public blows my mind.
Trying to get back out to life. It's a big change.
Are you ready to be a daddy?
That's what I always wanted.
Rob and China. A new series coming Sunday.
I mean, procreating seems like just a bad idea there. Bomani, are you intrigued?
In some ways, it vaguely reminds me of that movie with Steve Martin and Queen Latifah, just the way they did that commercial.
Really? Poppy, are you intrigued?
Oh, see, I'm very intrigued. Listen, Rob Kardashian, is he also in one of those films that you can find in the internet?
If he is, I ain't looking.
I mean,
Yeah.
films?
Yeah.
Films?
Films, yeah.
Yes, it's a higher form
Pictures.
of art. Yes, pictures. Yes.
Pictures.
Cinema.
Yes, pictures.
Videos.
Now you just brought it back to eye level.
Filth.
That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for watching.
Enjoy the weekend. We will talk to you on Monday.
Gracias. See you el lunes.
You know, some of those videos that you find in the internet are really disturbing.
Why am I laughing?
Why is he smiling?